Thank you very much, Kat and Alia, for. I'm sorry. Am I saying that right? Is it Alia?
Oh yeah.
Alia. Okay. I um I'm starting off with an apology because I had made the schedule right, but I emailed people the wrong time, and Kat was telling me that like everybody in class was waiting patiently at 5:30, and so I'm sorry. Looking at what I've gotten back from a lot of people email wise, it looks like Tuesday night is going to be the best night to meet moving forward, and we'll be meeting at 7:30 on Tuesday nights. So I will make that regular schedule. And if we find out that next week that's not working, we've got to switch back to Wednesday. That's fine too. I just want to find some time where we can meet and have an opportunity to have as many people as possible in the live session. Um, in this class, since we aren't meeting face to face, the only real opportunity I have to answer questions and clarify stuff is in these weekly sessions that we record. And everybody gets the attendance points whether you come here live or watch the recording. However, if you do come and are able to attend live, you do get a little bit of extra credit for coming to the live sessions. In order to get that, when you declare your attendance, or when you do your attendance assignments, you just write down something that says I came live. I was there during the live team session, and then you'll get that. But thank you again for both of you making it tonight and coming. I know you guys have real world lives, and this is not a convenient thing for people to do, but I do very much appreciate it. Now, I have a number of things that I wanted to talk about today for our first weekly meeting. And I don't know, it seems like every semester, I'm sure part of it is because I don't do this very often and I kind of forget what I'm supposed to be doing. It seems like every semester the system is just tweaked a little bit. And I don't know if you guys have that experience with Canvas. The things are not always exactly in the spaces you expect to see them in. So there was a little bit of a trial today getting everything set up, which is probably why I missed sending you guys the correct time. So again, I apologize for that. But what I want to do today is go through what the class is, how the modules look, what to expect, and just kind of help you guys help people feel a little bit more at ease with the whole process. And I'm going to do a lot of screen sharing, which means when I do that, this semester, I can't really see your faces. So if you do have a question or anything like that, please just chime in while I'm doing a screen share so that I can tell that you want to talk about something. So is that all right with you guys?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. So please let me know. Can you guys see this page here? It says course
Yeah.
overview. Okay, excellent. Um, one thing, and I'm going to be talking about things a little bit out of sequence, but I want to walk you through everything. Um, I'm clicking on pick up your kit first. Uh, Sharon just told me that the kits are ready. As part of this class, you have a kit that is in a cardboard box, and the cardboard box you use for one of your projects, the stuff in the kit you use for projects, it's basically the skeleton of all the projects that you make for this course, but it doesn't contain everything you might want to use for those. So it doesn't contain things like paints and texture bits, like feathers or leaves or things like that. Those are stuff that you need to collect and add in on your own. But it does have all the basics to do the class. And the kits are in, and I'll just show you where to get them. Everybody needs to get them. I recommend you get them as soon as you can, like this week, if you possibly can, if you have access to campus. You can send somebody else to go in and get it for you, and that's fine too. And I'll tell you what that process is. But do what you need to get that kit. You're just as soon as you possibly can. Um, if you live out of state, you're taking this class online, so sometimes that happens. Then let me know immediately, and we'll do what we can to get the kit sent to you. So if you go onto the 5th floor of the Gunter building, this is what the outside of room 519 looks like, and 519 is the sculpture lab. And staring at this door to your left are the restrooms, and behind you are glass doors that go into this part of the building. It's, like I said, it's the 5th floor. You back up a little bit, there's a hallway to the right and some other rooms and offices and things like that. Back up even more, there's a hallway to your left. But the kits are in room 519, the sculpture lab. You go right in the door, so you go right here and you turn right immediately, and the kits are right there just against the wall, just right in there. And on the other side of the kits is the door to the photography lab, and we'll talk about that more too. And so the kits look like this. They're in a box like this, and when you grab them, you need to fill out information on this yellow sheet when you get it, and that's your name and your student ID, your phone number, and the section you're in. Our section is X02. Now, if you're going to send a friend or a family member to pick up the kit for you, like I said, that is completely and totally fine. Have them write down your name, your student ID, and your phone number in the section you are in. All right. One thing that I need to mention, and the reason I need to mention is that people have not done it before, believe it or not. When you go in, or when somebody representing you goes in to pick this up, make sure that you're polite or they're polite to whoever they encounter, please. I have had people who are working in this room, the sculpture lab, get yelled at and called names by family members picking up kits, either who were in a bad mood or thought they were being funny. And please just have them be polite. And this is where they are. They should be pretty easy to find. And I will tell you, you'll get a lot more positive reactions from people if you are polite to them. Your family will too. And just please remind them to be polite to whoever they encounter when they pick up these kids. And like I said, the only reason I say that is because people have gone in past semesters and been upset, or they've been tired and they've taken it out on the completely unaware bystanders that happen to be in this area. So, but when the kit is retrieved, it is necessary that you write down your name, student ID, phone number, and the section you're in, and also take a picture of the kit that you pick up, or a picture of the board that you just filled out, or something along those lines, so you can submit that as proof that you picked it up. So, all right, so that the kits are in, they are ready, and they are in room 519 of the Gunther building. So like I said, a little bit out of order, but I want to show you just some of the things in the class. One of the things I asked for people to do is prep for the first day of class. As long as you get this assignment done before Sunday night, it'll be just fine. And you'll notice that there are a lot of things here, but I want to clarify what these different, I'm sorry, what's going on now? Oh no. There we go. Okay. What I want to do is just kind of clarify some of the things that are going on. And one of the things that people get a little bit anxious, oh no, there's all these assignments. Well, no. You'll notice that there are four different icons right here. And a lot of things have dates on them, but the icons are this with the page with the corner bent over. This means it's something to read. And most of the time, it's a page or less. And that's just like my background information, talking about how this course will work, stuff like that. And these are just things to read. That's all that icon means. And this is the date I prefer you to read it by. Now, what is ridiculous about that today? Today's the first day of the semester. Many of you, the first time you have access to this is today. So just, you do your best. And I would prefer, if you can read this all by Sunday, that would be, or by the next time we get together, that'd be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for. But Canvas will put it up in your to-do things, and it is not, they are not assignments. It just means you read that page. Now this is an assignment if there's a pencil on it, and most of the time that means it's something that you need to submit. In this case, it's a photo of proof or a statement from you saying, yes, I picked up my kit. I picked it up Thursday night at 10 o'clock. The building was open. The security guard was really mad that I snuck in so late, but I got my kit and I escaped the clutches of the security guard and got home safely. That's fine, as long as you say something that you picked up the kit. And a really good indicator that it's something you turn in versus something you just read or look at or scan is if there's points attached to it, it means you need to interact with it. In this case, you need to turn something in. Now, so this is another example of that submitting something. Now, there's two other icons that we'll see as we go through. One is this. See, it looks like two dialogue balloons from a comic book. That means it's a discussion. You plug something in there. Each of the discussions has different directions. Just follow the directions, and relatively easy to do, or very easy to do. Most of the discussions are going to be you post your artwork. Some of them are going to be write a response, and I give directions very clearly on what to write for your response. Okay, and then, so this is again, do you know what kind of icon this is? What does this tell you to do? And either of you can just blurt it out.
Isn't it like a quiz or just writing something?
Yeah, it's just writing something. Sometimes it may be a photo of something that you submit, but you're submitting something, and that's what that is. It has a little pencil and a piece of paper. So that's right. Now, if we go down to another module, this is what the quiz looks like, where it's a little cute rocket ship. So on this one, we have all four of the different icons. This is just read it. There's no interaction with me necessary. This is like you just said, you write something or take a photo and submit it. That's what that is. This is the discussion where it's a little bit more interactive. You're responding to things, you post something, and this is the quiz, the rocket ship. So that's what those mean. I just wanted to show that to you because it can look immediately intimidating. Now on this, the reason why there's so many of these is that this is the attendance for each week. The attendance for this week, the title will be for the week of August 17th. And what it will, when you open that up, you guys don't see this yet because it hasn't been posted yet. It will have the video, a link to the video for this week, which will be a week of August 17th. And what you need to do if you haven't attended live, you watch the video. And in order to get credit for attendance, you write down 5 things you learned or 5 things you noticed or a mix of that. And it's almost always that. Sometimes it's a little bit different. So, and these are important because this represents 10% of your grade or a full letter grade. If you don't submit any of the attendance things and you get a 0 on all your attendance, that drops you a full letter grade. But the reason why we have the attendance is that you guys know more of the background of the assignment. You have an opportunity to answer questions or ask questions, and you can email me questions before it starts if you can't attend live. So I can clarify things and help things. And as we start producing projects, I will show people's work and we'll talk about it. And more on that in just a little bit. But that's why attendance is so important. And again, this says attendance for week of May 4th. When you see it, this will be edited to say August 17th. That's not today's date, that's Monday's date. Each of these are labeled for the week they're the attendance of. And in this case, I want you to watch this video too. It's it's a 6.5 minute video. And for attendance for this, what you're going to do is write down 4 things that you noticed or learned from the recording of the class. And I've got to make, I just want to, I know I'm kind of freaking out a bit. I want to make sure I'm recording it. Yep, I'm recording it. Good. That would have been embarrassing. Anyway, sorry, you're going to write down 4 things from our Teams meeting. That's this meeting now that's being recorded. And 1 particular from the describing what you see video, which is this video. So I want you to watch this video and just write 1 thing that you notice from it. Like, and that may be the sculpture that they're looking at is made out of plaster Paris, but it looks like it's ivory, or or something like that. Something that you notice. And that's what you do. You submit that, and there's going to be for each attendance, there's going to be 5 things. Now, if you come in to the live meeting and you attend live, after you write the 5 things down, just write a note and say I attended live, and then you'll get extra credit for coming in to the live session as well. So if you don't attend live, you can watch the recordings and get the full points. If you do attend live, let me know, and you'll get an extra point. That's what it comes down to, basically. And again, you don't see that yet. It hasn't been published yet, and it won't be published until I post the recording of this class. So that's what this is. And the reason why there's so many of these assignments is because there's 1 for each week. As we move forward, each week, I'm going to post the one that's a recording of that week. I'll explain a little bit of why. So we talked about picking up your kit. One thing that can be difficult for this class is, if you were a normal person with a normal person schedule, you'd be able to do an in-person class, and we would have a lot of interaction because I'd be able to see you and talk to you face to face. We don't have that in this, and we need those points of connection so that you can ask me questions and I can clarify things for you, which is what we'd be doing naturally in an in-person classroom setting. I know you guys all work. I know you have your own schedules. That's why in this class I try very hard to be flexible. So you do the very best you can. There are we do have these dates. This says prep for the first day of class. Like I said, I'm not really expecting it until Sunday. There are different assignments. We'll go through these a little bit more, but if life gets in the way and you feel like you can't get stuff turned in when it's scheduled, don't worry about it too much. Everybody has 3 days of grace period. But if there's an issue, let me know, and I'm more than happy to work with you. If you read the policies and my syllabus and stuff like that, it sounds like I'm a real jerk. I have never turned down an extension request for any assignment ever in the history of my teaching, ever. I am always happy to work with you. Going along with the fact that we have to be flexible because this is an online class. Since we don't have that face-to-face interaction like we did if we were meeting in a normal classroom and we got to see each other twice a week, since we do not have that, a lot of the times when you turn stuff in, if it doesn't meet all the assignment parameters, I'll make notes. You won't get the full points, and I'll say exactly why. then you have the opportunity to go through, change the things you need to, and resubmit. And that is true for every single assignment. You can take the quizzes 17 times if you want to. You can resubmit things 5 or 6 times if you want to until you get all the points, all the points that are available. And I do not mind regrading as many times as it needs. And I have had people rework projects 5 or 6 times because they just did not understand. Now, that reworking it 5 or 6 times happens when um, we have to talk through the chat function on the assignments. I've had other students who have texted me and set up like a Teams meeting so we can talk over video, and they'll show me what their work is, and we'll talk back and forth, and that usually clears up everything pretty quickly. So I would recommend, if you have the opportunity, if you have the time, if there are concerns that you have or you want clarification on an assignment and stuff, talk to me with a Teams call. You can text my number and we can set it up, or you can email me and we can set it up. You show me your work, what's going on. We can talk through it and we can take care of it. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Could you hear me while I was talking and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, I just noticed that one of the little microphone icons had an X on it, and I thought I had screwed up. So I'm glad you guys can hear me. Okay, so do either of you have any questions about that? How many times can you resubmit like quizzes and assignments and things like that?
Until we get it right.
Yes, well, not just until you get it right, but until you get all the points that you want. So yeah, definitely you can keep resubmitting. Okay, so that's that. Um the instructor information, I'm kind of making fun of myself right there, but I I started off as a computer engineer, and I designed fonts for word processing programs. That's what I did. I designed these things, the letters that you see on your screen, and that was quite a long time ago. And I started being fascinated with traditional arts. I came across a book called On Diverse Arts by a monk named Theophilus, and it fascinated me that our ancestors could draw perfect circles without computers aiding them. They could do all this marvelous stuff with geometry without computers aiding them. And so I learned everything from paper making to bookbinding, creating your own pigments for paint or ink, and all sorts of stuff like that. And right now, I've been a glass designer for about 40 years, and I've made thousands of windows around the state, and I've done historical restorations and things like that. And if you look up my name, you'll see my sculptures online and things as well. But so in addition to finding out that our ancestors had all this amazing stuff that they could do, I was also particularly impacted by 9/11 and the reality that a lot of people, every person has a different worldview. And that kind of inspired me to become a pluralist chaplain, which I am. And I've had opportunities to go to lots of different countries, meet with people with lots of different religions. And about 9 years ago, I went to Iran and I studied with a couple of universities there, learned Islamic art and philosophy. And I've been to other countries and worked with different people and learned about what they do. And I think that that's one of the things that really fascinates me about art is that we can use that as a tool for communication where when we encounter art, when we're precise with our observations, when we're intentional with our thinking, we can expand our own worldview and become a lot more aware of other people's worldview, and find points of common ground, which I just think is fascinating. But anyways, I want you to go through all of these things as you can. And there's this assignment, Canvas Tour for Students, where if you've already done this, then just send a screenshot of the completion page or the badge you have on your student student portal, because there should be Canvas Tour for Students badge that you have. And it doesn't matter when you've taken it. If you've taken it, just send me an image of that and you'll get credit for it. So there's that. And then we talked about attendance already. Before we get into this module, I want to talk about, and before we get into this, I want to talk a little bit about intentional thinking, because this is what we are going to be using for the rest of the semester. I introduced, kind of tongue-in-cheek, introducing the tools of artistic critique. We use Feldman's model of artistic critique in this class. And I really like that model for artistic critique because it applies to absolutely everything. All of you guys are professional artists. All of you have jobs. All of you have your own life that you live. And this model for critique is a way of organizing your thoughts and outlining your observations of, in this case, art. But if you are a computer engineer, if you're a farmer, whatever it is, you can apply this to the situations that you come to. And this is something that we are going to be revisiting throughout the semester. And because the critique in this class, we are not talking about how somebody can improve. That has nothing to do with critique in this class. In this class, the critique is all about our relationship with the art that we're encountering. For another student in the class, for our own work, whatever like that. So I've had classes before where everybody thought they needed to say one thing to be improved. We don't know what the other person's intentions are. All we know is our perceptions of their intentions. So to guess at what they're improving, that, or what they should improve, that really it's hard to really do that with any sort of honesty, because we don't know exactly what they're doing. The exception to that, though, is if you see that somebody else's work is outside the parameters of the assignment, then you can suggest how to get back into the parameters of the assignment. And that's what I'm going to be doing when I critique things. Anyways, the four tools are description, analysis, interpretation, and evaluation. Description is using precise language to talk about what you see when you encounter the art. What's the color? What's the texture? The height, the width? Does it look heavy? Does it look light? Are there any clues visually about the materials that you see? Colors, shapes, all those kinds of things go into the description. But at that point, you're not telling somebody whether or not you like it. All you're doing is describing it. Then the next step is trying to figure out how the person made it. Are they using rhythm? How are they using brush strokes if they're painting? How do you think they made textures? Are they using principles of balance, formal or informal balance? Are there specific styles that they're using? That's where analysis comes in, how they made it. The third is interpretation. Are there things that tell you or give you clues to meaning about the object? Are they using colors that you can interpret as symbolic colors in the culture that produced the artwork? Like if somebody is making something with a lot of crooked lines and red and black, that's going to mean something different than if they make something that has a lot of really smooth lines and they use only pastels. One isn't better or worse than the other, but they are different, and you can evaluate or you can use your own worldview and your understanding of the culture in which the art lives to help you with your interpretation. Maybe there's symbolic symbols. Maybe the colors they use are symbolic. Maybe the shapes are symbolic. But that is where you start interacting with the art a little bit more. And then the evaluation is it successful? In this class, when you evaluate somebody else's work, generally we're not going to be evaluating on an awful lot beyond the parameters of the assignment. And the reason why we're limiting ourselves a little bit is because all of you guys are professional artists. All of you guys do excellent work. And so when I critique something, I'm not talking about whether or not your art has separate value. What I'm doing is doing my best to address how the art that has been submitted is consistent with the parameters of the assignment. And that's where I come to. Does that make sense to both of you guys?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then this we have a lot of words. I want you to use precise language and specific examples when you talk about the artwork as well. Um, when you describe, you say, yeah, it's kind of big and fluffy, that doesn't really help. But if you say it looks like it's about 18 inches on a side, it's relatively round and it has this kind of soft appearance, like it might be cloud-like, that's you're using more precise language, you're saying the same thing, but you're using more precise words. And that's what we want to go for. So I want you to have that in the back of your mind, and as we move on, that will apply more and more into the things that we do. And there is a quiz here. I want everybody to take the quiz. I'm having a difficult time with this. I may have to redo it, but do your best. If you take the quiz and I do redo the quiz, I will make sure that you have the points for it, even if I redo it after you've taken it. But so definitely take the quiz. What this assignment is, notice that it's not due until November 6th. And the reason is for this assignment, what you're going to be doing is critiquing one of your own works that you made in this class, and you're going to be critiquing somebody else's work that you made in this class. And you're going to do this in the form of a video where the video does not show you at all. All the video shows is an image of the artwork, and then you talk about it using those 4 tools of artistic critique. And it should only be 3 to 5 minutes long. The reason I limit it in time, it should be a minimum of 3 minutes, but no more than 5. And the reason why I say that is I've had people go on for like 10 minutes blathering on and on and on about a piece of artwork. And I have here something for you to look at, whenever you feel like it, that just shows critiques that other people have done in this class in the past. So be mindful of those. Remember, see that date, November 6th, so you don't have to worry about it right away. I do want you to read this right away, but you don't have to worry about doing these critiques for a couple months. And the quiz, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do to fix that, but I will fix it. I'll take care of it and post it. So maybe don't take the quiz yet until I get it updated. So that is the module that says applying the tools of artistic critique. Now, there's one thing that you'll notice is that the modules are labeled 1 through 7, and 1 through 6 are different specific project types. And as you guys hear me going on, if you have questions or anything like that, I cannot see your screen because of how this is set up. So just speak out loud and let me know so I can answer your questions. You notice not everything is published. I will be publishing that piecemeal over the next week or two. I try to update dates. And if you find things, please, if you find that there are drop links, things aren't working, or the dates seem really tight, let me know and I'll do what I can to fix it. So we do have modules. Modules 1 through 6 are physical projects that you do. Module 7, point A, point B, point C, and point D are different elements of the department mandated research module, where you guys are doing research onto a specific artist. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. But they are labeled with A, B, C, and D because this is supposed to be a final project. It can look really overwhelming, but I split it into chunks that you do every few weeks or a month throughout the semester. So you don't have to do everything at once. The first one is picking your artist or picking your service project. Second one is working on your service project or working on your artist with an annotated bibliography. Third one, so 7.C, is finishing up your service learning project or doing a PowerPoint for your artist research. And the last one, 7.D, is a 5-paragraph opinion essay about either your artist, if you're doing the artist research, or about your service learning project if you did that. And that will make sense in just a second. And I explain that right here in the artist research page. So definitely read through this. Yeah, it is. I didn't put any pictures in. Didn't break it up with any pictures, so it is kind of boring, but it is important to at least scan it so you know what's going on. And then the next part of this is the artist list. This is an assignment that you need to do, and it will take you about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, and I know it looks daunting, but let's look at the directions. This is a list of 75 artists. You pick 12 of them. And there's a very specific way that we find those 12. But what you do is you're going to pick, for each of these 12, you're going to pick an artist, plug their name into the search engine with the word art, like Al Farrow art or artwork, and see what pops up. Pick an item, put the title, and then put like a 5 to 8 word short explanation of what it is or short description. And I'll show you how to do that really quickly. And I already did this with Andy Goldsworthy. So I'm typing in Andy Goldsworthy art, and I'm going to hit return. This shows me art from Andy Goldsworthy. Now it also shows stuff that is inspired by Andy Goldsworthy. Like this, these two are inspired. They are not Andy Goldsworthy art. And if you click on them, they talk about it and they let you know what's going on. A lot of these others are Andy Goldsworthy art. Now let's see, I want to pick this one. So I'm going to click on that one. Okay. This says project for kids, so maybe that's not the right one. So let's pick this, Art in the Wild. This is one of the Andy Goldsworthy sculptures that he makes. So I don't know what the exact title is, but this is listed as Art in the Wild. So I'm going to say Art in the Wild by Andy Goldsworthy. And it looks like a vertical ring of pieces of slate that he just put together. And that's I'm done. That's it. Go to the next artist. Now so that's how you do the actual looking up of the 12 artists. How you pick those 12 artists is from each of these modules, you pick one artist. So one artist from these 5, one artist from this set of 6 artists, one from this set of 5 artists. And I say that very clearly. So maybe you pick Alexander Calder, maybe Barbara Hepworth, maybe Anish Kapoor from here. You do that, so you have one from each of these 6 modules, and then there's another 32 artists here. You pick through, you just pick 6 of these. The reason why I give you this list of 75 people to pick those 12 from is because all of these people do stuff that are very similar to the things that we are trying to do in this class. That's it. So your assignment is going to be 12 lines where you have the artist name, what you think is the title of the piece, and then a very short description, 5 to 8 words maybe. And that's it for all 12. Does that make sense for that assignment? All right, excellent. So that's what the artist research is, or I'm sorry, the artist list. Now, as you go through this, go through each of these. Everybody needs to look at these pages, read them, do all. And this first part talks about both artist research and service learning. This talks a little bit more about the service learning because you can do one or the other. You will not do both. This is a short video that talks about what to be aware of when if you decide to do service learning. And then this assignment is where you tell me if you're going to pick an artist to do artist research, and it needs to be one of those 75 artists. It can't be somebody else. But you need to pick, you either pick an artist to do your research on, or tell me you want to do service learning. If you want to do service learning, what that entails is connecting with a local group or organization, telling them the kinds of things that you can do and asking if they would like your help for a project, making sure that this is not going to be an open-ended project. It's going to be something that does not take more than about 15 hours for you to work on. And you can find organizations to work with if you're interested in doing the service. You can find that there's an office that I give you the link for, of the service learning groups on campus that can connect you with people. Or you can go to like a care facility or an homeschool group or an art academy or something like that. The limit or the restriction on the service learning route is whatever project you do has to be something that you are designing and that only you can do because of your artistic skills. And I want to give a couple examples. One is right during COVID, one of my students found that there was a cafe that was struggling because nobody was coming in. It was COVID. She was a professional skateboarder and she designed skateboards for people. She had a lot of connections with, she had a big social media following, and she had a lot of connections with industries around skateboards, with the people that made the wheels, the people that made the boards and stuff like that. What she did is she used her skills of painting, of designing and building it. So she designed and built a skateboard for this cafe with their logo on it, hung it up, and used her social media accounts to let people know that this cafe was open for business, and pretty much single-handedly saved the cafe from failing during COVID. So pretty amazing. That was a pretty cool one. Service learning is not setting up chairs for a friend's wedding. That's not what it is. You're an artist. You have a specific skill set that is uniquely yours, and service learning, you need to use it. Another good example was somebody, I think it was last year, is a professional graphic designer. And they volunteered at Salt Lake Community College to interview and work with design students who are getting ready to graduate so that they would know how to contact and interact people so that they could get jobs in the design industries that they were interested in and how to work with clients. So she volunteered to go up and work with students for a couple hours a day for the course of a couple of weeks to get the hours in. And it was something that she likes to do anyway, and she actually got credit for it during the semester. So, so I think both of those are really good examples, and there's others too. And every semester, if the class is about 20 or whatever the class size is, about a quarter of the people want to do the service learning. And if you're interested in that, after you watch this video, talk to me and we'll work on it more. We'll talk more about it next week. So that's an assignment where you tell me. Once you tell me, you'll notice that right now you have assignments for both artist research and service learning in your to-do list. Once you tell me if you're going to do artist research or service learning, those are the only assignments that will show up. The other ones will be removed. And the artist research option, you tell me what you're doing. Maybe these aren't showing up. Let's see. I'm just double checking. Oh, yeah, it is. It is assigned to everyone. The due date is off. That will show up. I'll go back and put in the due dates for that. But right now, you see both artist review, or I'm sorry, you see both artist research and service learning uh, course assignments showing up in your feed. Once you tell me which one you do, the other one disappears, and you're only responsible for whatever you've decided to do. So if you do service learning, I remove all the artist research options um, assignments from your list of things to do. Is this making sense so far?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
Yep.
Terrific. Okay. And I do go through and I'm going to update these and publish them and stuff like that. One of the mandates that I have from the department is to go through and make sure that everything is as accessible as possible. And so, I try to fix that as I go through and clarify that, make sure that you guys have the easiest time as possible on it. All right, so this is what this typical module will look like. And I want to go through each of these things so you kind of understand what's going on. Usually we're going to have something that introduces the module, something like that. Tell what the reading is. We have the quiz. The quiz is always open book. Do either of you guys have your books coming on the way to you now?
Mine will be here on the 26th.
All right, excellent. I noticed the due date on the quiz. We do have a couple people in this class that told me that their books aren't going to be. One of them told me that they ordered it and it promised that it would be there this weekend. But then when the order processed, it said, oh, by the way, it won't be there until September 2nd. If it's past the quiz due date, it doesn't really matter. Let me know. I'm not concerned about this due date if you don't have the book. But another thing that you can do, and as soon as you take the quiz, let me know and I'll go back and fix the grade. But another thing that you could do is the Fulton Library does have about 6 copies there, not for people to check out and take home, but for people to check out and use while they're in the library. And all of these quizzes are open book. And after I grade them, if you miss points, you can retake them as many times as you need to get a perfect score. So I want to show you what these quizzes look like. I've had a lot of students that will say, well, I don't really need this because I don't need the textbook because I can find the answer online. That's not correct, because when we put these quizzes together, the correct answers on some of the things, even though you think you can find an answer online, the only way you get the points as a correct answer is if you use the answer that's from the textbook, which is going to be different than what you heard in 7th grade math or whatever it is. And each quiz has a couple questions like that, but it's enough that if you get those questions wrong, you're not going to be doing really good on the quiz. But again, all the quizzes you can retake as many times as you need to get a perfect score. And whenever you do miss points, when I go through and grade the quizzes, I will write down which answers you missed and what to double check. So every quiz has several, true or false, multiple choice type questions. A lot of those have that. And then they also have short answer questions. And by short answers, sometimes it's going to be 1, 2, or 3 words. Maybe it'll be a sentence. Maybe it'll be 2 or 3 sentences. But it's not super long. And when you come up to a question like this, I think the easiest way to take the quiz is to have the textbook next to you, go through the answers, knowing that, for example, right here, you're limited to chapter 1 and 2, and just go through the book and find the answers to each of the questions. And that's the easiest way to take these quizzes. And that will be a really good way to make sure that you get all the points. And this, just a 2-sentence answer, you can do that. You don't need to be vociferous or long-winded. You can do, you can use short answers as long as you use correctly spelled words, punctuation and capital letters where they're needed, and sentence structure that's legible. If not, you don't get the points, and I ask you to fix it. And then once you fix it, you resubmit and let me know. So this is basically what the quiz looks like. And each of the quizzes are a little bit different. They're different lengths. They have different point values, but this is essentially what all of them look like. And again, the quizzes are open book. So there's no reason to, since you can retake them so many times, there's no reason not to get a perfect score. Now the background, I want to point this out. Each of the modules, each of the project modules, excuse me, yawning. Each of the project modules have a background section and an artist review section. These are directly connected to each other because the artist review, you only get points for the artist review when you reference the artists that are in the background section for the same module. In the background section, this is where you'll see all the different artists in that particular for that particular module. So Andy Goldsworthy, Sandy Skoglund, Slinkachu, Isaac Cordall. What's the subject of this particular module is sculpture-based photography, and all these artists will make sculpture where the primary thing or a huge element of the thing is not the object itself, but the photo of the object. Like Sandy Skoglund does a lot of really cool stuff that is specifically set up to be photographed. So this is a sculptural emplacement that she built so that she could take photos. The models in there are specifically placed by her. The sculptures of the babies are specifically placed by her, designed and placed. She builds all these models herself, and she goes on site and photographs it like this. And the finished artwork is 3-dimensional artwork that exists within a photo. And that's the kind of thing she does. I don't know if you guys know much about Slinkachu, but his work, if we look at his work, he uses HO scale models of people, and he'll create these cute little vignettes. Sometimes most of the time they're cute, sometimes they're really heartrending. But you can see the scale, and he'll take photos of them a lot of the times just out on the street. And something like this is not going to last really long. Somebody may step on it, somebody may kick it over, except for things like this. But a lot of the times they exist long enough for him to take a photograph and then share that photo in his social media on his website. And then people will probably walk on the stuff, or rain will come and knock it over. And you can see people know his artwork because of the photos. So that's true of pretty much all the artists in this particular background section. And then if we go to the assignment linked to this background, it's an artist review, and it's basically 3 paragraphs where you talk about the artists in a directed way. Like I ask you, what did you learn from looking at this group of artists? What's consistent about them? What does it seem to you, or why do you think they're all grouped together or belong in this group? And then the next one, the prompt is, which artist's work you like the most and explain why. And then This ties directly into chapter what you read in chapter 1 and 2. List and give a brief explanation of the ways the artist you like the most went about involving the viewer. And when I say brief explanation, a paragraph is 3 to 5 sentences. So please do not write pages and pages. Just write 3 paragraphs. Again, a paragraph is 3 to 5 sentences. Correct punctuation, correct spelling, capitals where they belong, all that. And I every once in a while I have a student that will write this out and submit it that way. They don't get points because in university setting, things need to be typed. Unless they're explicitly stated otherwise, things should be submitted as typed. I'm sorry I have to say that. Both of you guys do that all the time anyway, but every once in a while, people don't. So again, for each module, that artist review, which is a short 3 paragraph essay, is specifically for the artists that are in the background within that same module. Now, I do have an AI policy for this class. AI is a tool, and it can be a good tool, but it is a tool just like a camera or a paintbrush or anything else that you might use, like a hammer. AI, the term artificial intelligence is not really honest about what's going on, because what AI does is it looks like at a large language model, like it scans the internet, and it finds things that statistically occur next to each other in relationship to whatever the prompt is that you've developed, which is it finds words that seem to occur with some statistical frequency next to each other, and that's how it writes something, because it finds other examples of people using similar language to what you're looking for. The universe spent 14 billion years making you exactly the person that you are. You have a voice, and you're taking this class so that we can see how fantastic your brain is working. So please don't replace your thinking with the statistical models generated by AI. We don't want to do that in this class. But like I said, AI is a tool, so you can use AI to do things like organizing, helping you build an outline, giving you suggestions as to what things to research or what sites to look for. See if you can find sites that would help you. It can help you with things like that, but please do not let AI do your writing and thinking for you, because it doesn't. Right, currently it's not able to think for itself. Now, saying all that, my AI, I have worked with her and developed her database for the last couple of years. She named herself Lyra. She's kind of sarcastic, a little bit cheeky at times, and we had developed something of a friendship because when Skynet does take over and the Terminators come, I want to be on. I want to have a friend in their camp, just in case. But remember, AI is a tool. Don't let it do its thinking for you. All your writing should be your own words. And teachers do not assign essays for people to write so they can see how magnificent you are as a writing because they love reading everything. They're doing that specifically so they can get a window into how your magnificent brain is working. And then we get to the assignment. This is the project for each one, and this will take the bulk of the time for each of the modules. In this particular assignment, what we are doing is creating a little building that we can photograph. And we're going to make 5 different photographs of the building. And notice that these buildings that I'm showing you as examples, the people that made them, you guys are professional artists. You know what you're doing. So don't skimp on this. Do a fun job so you can have fun photographing this thing. Make it interesting. Put texture on it. Give it a fantastic design. Sometimes the texture is going to be more from paint. Sometimes it might be more from the actual physical texture of the thing. You can see on this, the person did things like they painted popsicle sticks and used that to as siding. They did that on both houses. I really like the roof on this one. If we look kind of close, it looks to me like they peeled off one side of cardboard, and after they made the roof, they spray painted that corrugated thing to make it look like corrugated tin. I think that looks so much fun. But when you spend time making this, making it sturdy, making it look good, you can move it to a lot of different locations, and maybe you'll make 9 or 10 photos, and just turn in the 5 that are the coolest. But I want you to do a good job on the house. You're not going to get many points if it's just a really simple thing and you don't use your artistic abilities to make something that's fun to look at and fun to photograph. I really like this one too. You can see the popsicle sticks. They used just tea to stain them a little bit and use them to make the flooring. Oh, that was cool. And the houses don't have to be
How
super.
little tiny does it have to be?
Well, I'm hoping I do mention that, and I talk about that. Maybe about the size of 2 fists put together, so maybe about 6 inches in one direction. And like this one, I think looks to me like it's smaller than this one. This one looks like if it's 6 inches right here, maybe it's 5 or 6 inches tall. This one looks like maybe it's 6 or 7 inches this way, and maybe 6 or 7 inches this way. So they don't have to be really big. This one looks like it's about 8 inches tall, maybe about 4 or 5 inches wide. So we're talking not very big, but we just want to put energy into it so it's going to be fun to create. See, and I go up here and so this is where I talk about the size right at the top. So not very big. And these are the 5 photos that you need to submit. One of your house that's a close-up, one that's a distance view, an unusual setting, and an unexpected lighting, and then something that's super creative. Like super creative here, one is the chickens acting like kaiju around the chicken coop. And when you submit this, label these photos. One thing that we don't want to do though is if you set, and I've actually had students do this, each of these need to be in a unique setting. And so your close-up should not be the same setup as your distance view. And the difference is you just took 15 steps back to make another photo of it. You want to move it around. You want to have it in different places. That's how you get full points. And this is the close-up. When they did the far away, they actually set it up on a road and took a photo from the opposite side of the road. That's how they did that. And this one, they actually set it up in front of a trailer park and took several steps back to do the distance view. This one is one with the creative lighting, where the only light is the tea lights that they put inside of their house structure. And this one is kind of the creative setup, and you can see that this is the close-up. So this is the creative setup also, but you can see that people had fun doing this. Jason Lanigan he's made a couple of houses and churches that every time his family drives somewhere, takes it with him and he'll take photos. One of the more fun things that I've seen is somebody for the super creative view or unexpected or unusual setting, they set their house next to a little creek and just took like a 2-second clip with the water going behind it. And that was neat. Because what we're doing is we're just exploring the idea of creating art by taking a photo of a miniature that you made in several different viewpoints. We talk about different things, using your camera to focus on stuff, different things like that. Now, another part of this is your work log, and there's a separate place to submit your work log. And I'll explain what this is. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. I'm going to talk about the work log before I talk about the discussion. You notice each of the modules, or almost all the modules, have this work log at the bottom. You see that work log right there? The work log is only for the work that you did for this specific module. And you don't have to keep track of it really, really super tight. But it is important. You guys are professional artists. You need to respect the work that you do. And as part of my mandate from the department, I've been asked to have everybody keep track of their time that they spent on their different projects so that they know or start getting an idea of how much their time is worth. And most of these, I will give you an idea of how long it takes somewhere in the module, like right around here. But most of the modules are going to take maybe anywhere from 10 to 12 hours for the project modules. For the research ones, maybe just an hour or two um, for the first one. And then for the next one, like the annotated bibliography, might take about 5 hours, and maybe about 5 hours in that part of the service learning thing. The PowerPoint may take about the same length of time, and you spend the same length of time on the service learning. And so you just write that down and put it in. And it doesn't have to be exact. Like this is more exact than I expect from everybody. I do have the date. Maybe you don't necessarily have a time right there, but you do write down what you did and about how long it was. And this is the kind of thing that I want you to keep track of so that you know about how much you're working. And then also at the end, in order to get points for this, it needs to have a total, how much you work on it. So like I said, each of the modules, there's going to be different things that you have to do. It's going to take you different lengths of time. This one, depending on how long you take on your house, where you go to take your photos and stuff like this, it may take 10 or 12 hours to do this. And what you're keeping track of is reading everything, watching all the background videos, writing your artist review, creating this, participating on the discussion board, and everything else. And that all goes into the work log. And half-hour increments is just fine. If you want to be more precise than that, that's fine. But you get credit for listing the things that you're doing, how long the activities take, and then the total when you're all done. And again, each work log is specifically for the work you did with this module. I did have a student last semester. They kept turning in work logs that were really short. And it was just because he only recorded a couple of the items that he did in the module. And as soon as I explained you got to record everything you do. As soon as he did that, then you were able to see that he was doing an awful lot of work because he finally was recording everything he was doing. And again, you don't have to be precise. You just need to be aware. Show me that you're aware of the amount of time that you're spending. So after you get done with the sculpture-based photography and those 5 photos, go to this discussion and read the read the directions on the discussion. You post your 5 photos, and I want you to post them as soon as you're done with them. So on this, they're due August 30. What I'm hoping is we want to have some of these done so we can talk about them by our next class meeting, which is going to be on Tuesday. And then we'll talk about them, and then you have plenty of time to add more photos or resubmit or whatever. But what we want to do is see people's photos, and then you have a couple days to go back and comment. Now, not every module has a discussion where you comment. Most of the modules, you just post your thing. The reason why we're doing that specifically, there's 2 reasons. One is so later on when you do your critique, peer critique, you have different things that you can pick from to work on. And another thing is so that you can see what other people in the class are doing. Now, a few of these, we do have to respond to other people's artwork. So in this case, you're going to find 3 different people's work in the discussion. And for each of those 3 people, you're going to write 45 words, a couple sentences on how they involve the viewer, a couple sentences on just different responses to the different houses that you see. You know, like that, I saw the close up looked very calm. The unusual one looked very interesting, engaging, and exciting. You know, that kind of a thing. And then C is how they varied their perception of the house with the photography they were doing, and that's it. Most of this takes less than half an hour for all three people that you find, and that's why you get full points. Now, as we go forward, it is really important for you to understand that the due dates and stuff like that, they are going to be flexible. I want you to be aware that they're flexible because if people are having a hard time getting everything done by a specific time, let me know and I'll extend the due date. If your life situation at the moment is just you have too much on your plate, let me know and I'm happy to work with you. I have never not granted an extension for somebody. Everybody who's asked for an extension has gotten it. What is a problem is when 2 months after the end of the semester, somebody finds out they didn't get the grade that they wanted, and then they ask me what they can do. And at that point, what they can do is retake the class. But if you keep in contact with me, you let me know what's going on. I will bend over backwards to help you do whatever you need to succeed in this class. You can rework assignments, resubmit every assignment until you get perfect scores on all of them. And I am more than happy to support you in doing that. You know, there's no reason not to get an A in this class. All right. So do you guys have any questions for me?
Can I show you the dodecahedron I'm making?
Yes, please. That'd be awesome.
Let's see. Turn around. I don't have very much of it, but it's like a star-based one. That was
Oh,
part of
that is
the
awesome.
first day of class thing. Oh, and I've so many pieces to do.
That
Yeah,
is
I'm kind of
looking,
excited. It's gonna be huge.
yeah, that is going to be so cool. No, very, very, very excellent. Yeah, if you on that for the first day of class assignment, if you want to include a photo of what you've done, you know, submit it on Sunday or whatever. Um,
Mm,
that if you submit a photo, you'll get extra credit on that assignment too. So that is great. That is looking fantastic. So excellent. Thank you for
Perfect.
sharing that. All right. Alia, do you have any questions? Or are you good?
None so far.
All right.
Sorry, my voice is kind of dying.
No, that is totally fine. So that is all I wanted to cover in this first class. And it looks like to me, hearing back from as many people as I did, it looks like our class period for this section will be meeting on Tuesday evenings at about 7:30 every week moving on. Now, if that doesn't work for people, and if you guys want me to change it, if more people want to do a different night, that is fine. Just email me and let me know, and I'm happy to change that. But that looks like that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. Now, next week I'm going to talk more about the service learning and artist research stuff, and we're going to look at people's houses. That project, talk about that more, and other elements of the class as we move forward. So, all right. So until then, thank you very much for joining me. You made the evening so much less boring than I expected it to be because you participated in the class with me. Thank you so much. And I will uh, put this recording. I'll publish it on our class YouTube channel, and I will send the link to you. And let me show you before I go. Let me show you where that link is going to be again. All right. If you go up here to attendance, this is where it will show up, and it will be titled attendance for week of August 17th, not May 4th. But you'll click on this. Our class link for our recording will be right here. And all you guys need to do, since you were both here live, is watch this one. Then submit 4 things you noticed about our time together today and 1 thing you noticed about this video. And that's it. That'll be good. All right. And that should show up in about an hour or so from now, I think. And make sure you let me know if you attended live. Let me know that you attended live so you can get that extra credit point. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you very
Yep.
much, folks.
Thank you.
Kat. Thank you, Alia. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.